Hi, this is Melissa Peterson with Melissa Peterson Designs. I'm going to show you how I set up my silhouette with my growth chart with the woodland animals and get it ready for cutting. So let me see here. So each woodland animal has different colors, so each color is a separate layer of paint that I'll be using. So I'll have to go through and ungroup this design and get down to the base layer. So I'll have to ungroup each color and then pick all the top colors and then move it out of the way. And I'll just leave the base color in place when I go to send this to my silhouette to cut the stencil. And I'll just keep repeating this very same process with each animal. Now I bought these woodland animal designs off of a seller off Etsy, and I'll have that linked in my blog post. And there's a fifth woodland animal I bought that wasn't included in the set, and I also will have that linked in my blog post. So just remember, if you accidentally, move a design, didn't get it all together, just hit edit, undo, move, and then it'll go back to where it was. So you can just keep clicking and trying again until you get to the base. And there we go. And then once I move them out of the way, I go ahead and group that new grouping together. Now the squirrel's a little bit tricky because the dark brown is actually the base, not the light brown. And that messed me up the first time. Just go through and click each layer, each color. There, oh, see, that's what happened the first time. See the medium brown with the same color as the tail actually has two layers, which is what messed me up the first time. The brown on top of the head there, that's actually an extra layer, even though it's the same color as the tail. And just like before, if you move a group and you didn't get everything, just hit edit, undo, and that way it'll push it back, and then you can go back and like click the teeth, and then you can move it out of the way. Oh, and then I left the top of the acorn, so I gotta edit, undo, and then get the top of the acorn, and there we go. And then I'll group that together. And the raccoon, this one's probably one of the easiest ones, probably one of my favorites. So ungroup it. And actually the light gray I used in Dixie Belle's Driftwood. And then the next gray up, the next shade of grayed up, I actually mixed just a little bit of caviar in with Driftwood to make it. And then for the eyes, the eye area, I add a little bit more black to that mixture and made it a little bit darker. So it was kind of neat. It was Driftwood and caviar just mixed in a different variations. And the owl. So the section where the feet are at is actually the bottom section. So I gotta try and click everything else besides that. And I think that shows where the eyes are at. So I gotta be careful of the eyes. There we go. And then group that. Okay. Now let me see here. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I put that together. So basically my daughter picked out this font. I believe it's Noteworthy. It's one of my favorite fonts. And I'm going to outline it using the offset tool. And I think I went a 1/2 inch before I hit apply to make the first layer. And my computer was just being a little bit slow here. And sometimes when you have a grouping of letters like this, it takes a little bit longer for it to do its stuff when you after you hit apply. So just be patient. Okay, and then I'll hit that and repeat the same process to make my border. And that's how I'm showing you how I did my tree sign. And that's how I got the shape of it, is by using the words and the offset tool. Okay, and then I'll usually go in and color them, so I kind of, it's like my notes for what I plan to do when it comes time. Because a lot of times when I do these, I'll use this as my mock-up to send for approval. So I just let them know that this is the kind of colors I'm going for, but might not be exact because, of course, you know, my paint colors aren't the same as what's on the computer. Okay, now I'm going to have to work on the, I always do a border for my cuttings, so that way it helps me with centering. So I'm just kind of getting these out of the way. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean. The one I have, I'll be taking it out of the way here. But I'll use the shape tool and do the rectangle, and I'm making two separate rectangles. And I gotta hit the cursor button to turn it off. Okay. Yep, get that one border out of the way because that's what I normally use, but I'm going to cut my growth chart in two separate cuts. That's why I removed the other one out of the way. So my board I'm using is actually, when I went to buy it, it was a 1x10 cut into 6 foot long. But whenever you buy wood like that, it's usually smaller, so it actually measures to be about a 1x9. So that's what I'm making this design for, is 9 inches wide. So I'll have the growth chart in two different sections. I'm going to cut the top section with just the wood sign separately, and then I'll cut the second section with the measurements and the animal bases secondly. I think I said that right. So I'm just getting this set up. The animals and the measurements and the numbers are centered the way they're supposed to be. So I just got to make sure that the border is the same. And when I do the stencils on the board, you are our greatest adventure, and I'll do that, and I'll go work from the top of the board, and then when I do the bottom part, I'll work from the bottom board up. That's why I'm making sure that everything fits here. And I'm just grouping everything together so I don't mess up in the future and forget. I do a lot of grouping and ungrouping in my projects, so there we go. Just to show you how I've got two different designs here, and I'm grouping that, but I'm going to have to separate that before I cut it anyway. Okay, let's go back. fix that little top one because I'm not going to cut the letters and the border together. I just need the outside border to start with. So I'm going to, oh, I think they're still grouped. So let me see here. And as you can see, I don't have it really centered in there, the outside border anyway, but I'll fix that later. Right now I just need to get the lettering and the inner border out of the way. There we go. So that's what I need for my first cut for the base of the tree. So I'll hit send. I use contact paper for my stencil. And that's it. So I'll see you in the next round.